Are you a fat chud who can't hit a single flick shot? You lock in Widow, you miss every single shot, and everyone tells you to swap, and you go back to the little Mei player that you are. Boy, do I have the video for you. I've been a member of a lot of aiming communities and a lot of shooter communities in general, and I've seen a lot of misconceptions and myths be thrown around about aiming and training in general. And I thought I'd make a video explaining a lot of these misconceptions and actual things that you can use to your advantage to improve at the game. This is like a base stepping ground, not really for those that have really good mechanics already and want to take it to the next level. I'll make a separate video on that in the future, but as someone who kind of struggles with that, or maybe thinks they just have bad aim, and really just wants to get out of that rut and that improvement arc to get better at your mechanics on whatever shooter, or even games like League of Legends, whatever it is, this is really going to be the video for you. The first misconception I want to talk about today is a lot of people will blame sensitivity. This happens a lot, especially in lower elos, or those who don't play in higher elo a lot of the time, is they'll bring up lower or higher sensitivities and general uncomfortability and having it impact your aim a lot. And the truth is that it really does not. It does not matter, with the exception of the outliers having an extremely fast sensitivity and having an extremely low sensitivity are hindrances of their own, and I'll get into that in a separate video that I'll be doing on sensitivities. But what I want to talk about here is the fact that as long as it's comfortable, it's not impacting you to change it, A, and B, it's the difference in your sensitivity is not going to make you a better player. Finding your perfect sensitivity for you really doesn't quite exist the way that you think it does. It is more of a tool for you to use to transfer your aim skill into a comfortable sensitivity in the game that you're playing with the playstyle that you have. So as long as you're using something comfortable, it is not going to be a hindrance on you. And so, you always have that one guy who's changing his sensitivity every day of the week, like it's his baby's diapers. And then you also have that guy who swears on his mother's life you'll die of AIDS if you change your sensitivity once at all, once you've gotten used to one. And the truth is that neither of them are correct. Changing your sensitivity all the time can be a hindrance on your ability to learn and use the aiming that you've learned from training, that I'll go into in a little bit here. And using that, changing your sensitivity all the time, can really interfere with that. And never changing your sensitivity at all may help to an extent, but you might be missing out on a sensitivity that feels a lot more comfortable for you in your playstyle. And so changing your sensitivity shouldn't be something you're scared of, and it shouldn't be something that you're doing constantly. You want to use it as a tool to use your developed skills, right? So whatever your playstyle is, as long as you find something comfortable for you, you can stick with that, maybe change it every now and then, see if you find something more comfortable, but I promise you it's not holding you back. And the second misconception that I really want to get into here is that what's going to hold you back is your genetics, or you feel like you weren't really born to play shooters, or you're not good at them. And so some people are predisposed to being very good at shooters. Someone with 120 millisecond reaction time is going to have a little bit more agency than someone with 200 millisecond reaction time when it comes to hitting a flick shot in the head on Widowmaker. However, this does not determine your actual ability to improve and become a better mechanical player. And there are actual studies showing this, that doing the same tasks over and over again improves your reaction time. And so if you do practice specific tasks and aiming tasks on your own, you will get better at reacting to said tasks in said environments. And so a lot of people will harp on this and say that my genetics are bad. However, you absolutely can train with bad genetics to be an elite level mechanical player. This is true of a lot of games. You can even kind of notice a lot of top players who don't have an affinity for this like mechanical prowess that maybe other players in that esport do, but they still train their asses off, and you can tell that they might not be as cracked or as insane as some of the very talented players are, but they're still able to compete at a very, very high level strictly through training and discipline alone. And so even if you are someone who is predisposed to be terrible at shooters, you can absolutely do the right training to improve yourself to be someone that is capable of playing at a much higher level. And so I'm going to get into that here. These are going to be my 3 pillars of improvement when it comes to mechanics. And this is applicable to improving at any skill set when it comes to video games. And the 3 pillars is the very first thing is volume. When I ask a lot of people who are struggling with their mechanical ability, or people who don't aim well, and they come to me and they're like, well, how do I improve? How do I get better? And I'm like, so what's your schedule look like right now? What are you currently doing to improve the best you can? And they would go, what do you mean? And I said, so what does your schedule look like? How many hours are you putting into aim training right now, and how often do you do that? And they'll be like, well, I play 30 ranked games every day. And so if you want to practice and get better at your 3-point jump shot, are you going to practice your 3-point jump shot, or are you going to play a bunch of basketball games? And the truth is that you're going to practice your 3-point jump shot. If you want to get better at a specific thing, you have to improve at that specific thing, not just practice things that involve it, right? If it's a weakness for you, which I imagine it is if you're on this video, if mechanics are a weakness for you, you need to focus them as a separate thing from the game. And so what you need to do is put in actual volume for this training. And the second thing I run into when I'm trying to coach someone to aim better or get them into the habits better to train themselves is, okay, well, how often are you training? And they'll tell me, okay, well, I do an hour a day of aim training every day. And I go, okay, well, show me what that looks like. And they show me what it looks like. And it's a lot of grid shot and a lot of like flick shotty aim tasks in aim labs. And I say, okay, well, what areas of your aim are struggling? And they say, well, I feel very inconsistent and my tracking aim is really bad. You need to have a purpose with your training. If you have a weakness in your mechanics, and even if it's I suck at everything, you need to have a purpose of your training. And whether it's to improve at flicking, at tracking, at being very precise, at doing small movements, or whether or not it's doing big flicks and being consistent, whatever it is you're focusing on, you really need to target that weak point of yours in your game. And you could do this by VOD reviewing, which is especially great because in game, when's the last time you remembered your flick in game and whether or not you were over flicking or under flicking in that moment? It's very hard to do that. And so VOD reviewing is a great tool to find what you are the worst at and you can then use that to improve upon it. So you want to make sure that you're getting your time in to improve your mechanics, but you at the same time want to make sure that you're absolutely doing something purposefully. You don't want to be doing junk volume, as I would like to call it. It's used a lot in the lifting community, junk volume. I'm spending an extra hour aim training, but is that aim training actually something that's going to help you better at aiming if you're doing the same task every time and trying to get better at it, and it's not a task that's going to help you specifically? The answer is no. So you want to make sure that you're getting your volume in, that you're doing it purposefully. And the last pillar here that you really want to focus on is consistency. When you're trying to get better at something, especially if you're not really good at it, you want to make sure your brain is adapting. And to do that, you need to make sure that you're doing it over a period of time. If you're inconsistent and you're not training at least to a weekly schedule, at least like once a week on purpose, it starts to get very hard to just accumulate the skill. When you're maybe doing aim training for a 3-hour session and then you don't do it again for another couple of weeks, you're getting a good amount of volume in, but you're not spreading it and you're not doing it consistently. So you want to make sure that you're doing it consistently so that your brain realizes this is something that you're trying to improve at and that needs to get better. So when you combine these 3, you're training consistently, you're doing it with a purpose, and you're getting a good amount of volume in, I promise you that you will improve. Now, there are several videos by other creators that will go in depth talking about how you can better schedule your time, how you can better choose the tasks that are right for you. But the most important thing is that you stick to the fundamentals. If you stick to the fundamentals, you can change your program for whatever you're doing to get better for yourself, and you'll improve. You'll be able to find what works for you and what doesn't work for you, as long as you're sticking to the pillars that will remind you what it is you're doing and how you're supposed to do it. Now, obviously, if you want to get better, it's got to come from you. You got to have the determination. You got to have the want to get better. If you're trying to improve and you don't really care that much about improving, then why are you doing it? If you just want to have fun at the game, have fun at the game. But if you really want to get better, you got to really want it, and you got to really go put those hours in at getting better. finding what tasks are helping you the most, looking at your VODs and finding out what part of your mechanics are your weakest link, and working at those and hammering them in. So I'm going to leave you guys off with that note. I'm going to do another video on sensitivity very soon and kind of go into depth about, how to find a good sensitivity for you, talking about how, not how big of a deal it is and what you can do to find a comfortable sensitivity to really start using the mechanics that you're training effectively. So hit that like and subscribe. Hit the buttons at the bottom of the screen for me. I appreciate it very much. You guys have a good rest of your day.